I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
We're in what I call the fillet of summer.
A fillet of summer?
Yeah, the tenderloin of summer, the middle of summer.
Girl, middle of summer happens in August now.
Yeah, I guess
all of the weather has shifted. The weather has shifted.
It has.
Yes, so we get summer all the way through September.
We do get it through September, thank goodness.
There we go.
But there's a lot going on in the city. My goodness, it's hard to keep up.
There is a lot going on.
A million things happening.
There are a million things going on right now. And you know what? One thing, Rosie O'Donnell is still a citizen.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
And she always will be.
She always will be. It's funny how that works.
It's a civics lesson.
Yeah, there we are. Mm-hmm, yeah. Hey, we've got a great show for you. Kind of like an 80s sort of throwbacky kind of vibe today. You know, so we tried to have them on last week, but there was an emergency rehearsal. But Marriott Theater presents Always Something There. It's a vibrant new jukebox musical from Chicago-raised playwright Sandy Rustin, set to an electrifying soundtrack of hits from the 1980s. And joining us later on this hour is one of the multi-talented members of the cast, Caleb Mathura. And Invictus Theatre Company presents Angels in America, a gay fantasia on national themes. It's Tony Kushner's two-part Pulitzer Prize-winning, expansive, poetic, politically charged look at 80s in America. It is a monster of a play,
yes.
And it is really important. It's getting great reviews. Jeff recommended everything. Founding artistic director of Invictus and the show's director, Charles Askenaizer, is going to be joining us in the second hour.
Fantastic.
I know. And Chicago House and Social Services aims to play a critical role in eliminating new infections and getting to zero by 2030, and believes that housing is essential to ending the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And CEO Michael Herman is going to be joining us in the second hour.
Important stuff.
Yeah, important stuff. And they're celebrating a milestone year this year, 40 years.
Wow.
I know. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So, you know, the Credo mobile phone and text line is open. 773-763-9278. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people and the planet. Visit credomobile.com. And just, you know, if you want to send us a little text instead of giving us a ringy-dingy because you don't want to be on the radio for some reason.
If you're shy.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. But if you are,
just shoot us a text.
Yeah.
There we are. Great.
There we are.
Yeah, so we'd love to hear from you. Again, 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we are coming at you live. Head on over to Out Chicago Radio, and while you're there, give us a click and a like and a share and all that jazz. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on AM 820. And while you're at it, follow WCPT and our sister network, Heartland Signal, on all of these socials. So what's going on?
You know,
Miss Tenderloin.
Yeah, well, just there's so much going on. I mean, July is the month I love because you still get a lot of daylight. In August, you start feeling the days getting a little shorter, and it's kind of melancholy. I mean, you can tell if you're out barbecuing at a certain time and you also kind of turn a light on here because the darkness is coming.
It's good that you're thinking about that now,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
think about the darkness that's coming.
I'm thinking about this is my favorite month of summer because it's just. Things are starting to...
It's just summery.
It's summery as it gets.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The garden, the little tomatoes are starting to turn. There's like 20 festivals in one day that I wish I could, make myself be at, 10 of me because it's hard to choose. I mean, there was like... there was just so many things going on. There was things at the Salt Shed. You had Trombone Shorty last night. I would have loved that. But I went to the Square Roots Festival, which is in Lincoln Square. It's hosted by Old Town School of Music.
Is it in the square itself, or where it's down?
It's in the Lincoln Square neighborhood. It's on Lincoln Avenue. It's between Montrose and then up to whatever.
So closer to Old Town School of Music.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's right in front. And it ends up going right in front of this. And there's like four stages or so. They do music inside. They do a north stage, a south stage. They have local, regional, national acts, international acts. There's a band from Montreal I'd like to see today if I can get over there. But just, it was hotter than, oh my God, hotter than heck. But, it is, Kathy looked around, she goes, this is totally our crowd. I mean, it's an older crowd. It's a music intense crowd. It's a liberal crowd. You look at the T-shirts. Many of the bands made comments about what's going on in the country right now. Without even saying a certain person's name, but just alluding to and how we need this music, how we need this joy, how this community that we have in front of us today, last night is what is going to sustain us. And that feels good,
100%.
It feels good. So we were there. I'm going to go back today. And that was, we were there all day yesterday from 2:30 to 10:30.
I can't do it that long.
I was really losing steam. I walked 3.5 miles before that in the morning or afternoon before I went, and I was starting to feel it. I was getting a little tired. Even I was getting a little tired.
Yeah.
But and the heat was,
it's a little hot. Well, it wasn't too bad yesterday.
It was.
But I'm sure with all those people around there.
Even at 8:30, we were just standing there sweating at 8:30 last night in front of one of the stages. It was a lot of people.
I can't deal with crowds these days. I really can't.
A lot of people can't. I wonder if if COVID helped to exacerbate that or what? Because
maybe I think it's just because I'm getting old.
Well, there's that. We're all getting old.
We're all getting old.
If you're hearing my voice, we're getting old.
Mass shootings are a part of the reason why people don't go out as much, I think, right?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hadn't even thought about that.
Well, the crowd was full.
No, I'm just saying, crowds in general, though, I think people are apprehensive.
I'm not worried.
That,
you know what? I'm not really worried
about that here.
It's not a present of mind thing, but I just always think that
it might be somewhere in the back.
Yeah, Come
on,
what I'm
Paul,
saying? Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to
here I'm just thinking
it's a slice of the pie.
I'm just inundated by humanity every day at work, so I'm just kind of like, I can't deal with people right now, And there's something about I don't like to be sweat. You're standing there, just standing and sweating
in shorts and a sleeveless shirt.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I just.
It was just there wasn't a lot of air
people
circulating.
Touch you.
No, I don't let anybody touch me.
Well, they just bump up against you. It's like icky. I can't. I know. I'm so weird.
I have a bubble around me that I make sure I don't want to touch anybody. Sometimes you get hit by a purse.
But don't you get in there to go see the music? When you're going to the stages,
it's fairly. There's room around everybody. Okay. It's really interesting there. Maybe it's because it's an older crowd and they're more cognizant of their space.
Maybe that's what it is.
But people really do give you a little space there. So it's a great fest. It's going on again today. Friday we celebrated our 14th legal anniversary.
I know, 7-Eleven.
And 7-Eleven. We went to Monteverde. Unfortunately,
was Bailey there?
Bailey apparently left before we got there.
No, I'm texting you. I was like, hey,
I know you were.
Get Bailey on the show.
I know. I would love to have her, but we had a lovely waiter, Paul, and I'm going to have some leftovers when I get home from the show today. We over-ordered on purpose.
Well, as you do.
We could enjoy after the fact.
Are you one of those people, you strike me as one of these people. Well, maybe you don't.
All right, what?
Are you one of those folks let's get one of all the appetizers and we'll share them at the table and then we'll just kind of.
If there's a group of us, yes. When it's just the two of us, I can only eat so much.
Oh, I know. That's what I was thinking. You're a dainty eater.
Yeah, we ordered a salad, a fish, and 2 pastas and a dessert.
And then the 2 pastas came home.
And you're exactly right. We ate half of the 2 pastas. We could have eaten one and we would have finished everything, but why not bring some home and have it for lunch after the radio show?
Right. That's always wonderful.
Yeah, so we just had a lovely dinner, and it was a beautiful night. It's been a great weekend. I love these. I relish these weekends here in Chicago in the summer. They're just fantastic.
It's so funny that you're talking about this being July being the tenderloin. I'm that's a really great way to put it. And because the other night I was walking the dog, and it really felt like this feels like July.
Yeah, July
it felt like July. It was just hot enough. There was just enough humidity in there, and there were fireflies everywhere. It was one of those things where I'm kind of this really feels like July. I feel like the July of my youth.
There you are. Yes, I love the month, and I start getting when Market Days happens. The second weekend of August, I'm starting to get a little melancholy because you can, like I said, you feel the days getting a little shorter, and you know that. Kids are going back to school, which is okay with me because it's a little less crazy at the club where I work out, where they have. But anyway, time goes by fast. The older you are, the faster it seems to go by. So
just because
grab it
you've
all.
had more time to experience, so your measurement of time.
Your measurement is different.
I know, isn't that a Neil deGrasse Tyson
probably.
thing?
It sounds like something you would say.
Yeah.
How was your lovely weekend? I know you had some adventures.
Yeah, it's been, you got to travel out to the burbs yesterday. My nephew and his wife are expecting a baby, so there was a big old baby shower and a reunion with a cousin that I hadn't seen in like 40 years.
Well, that had to be special.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was very strange. Well, just mostly because like when my parents split up, I was young, and so this is a cousin from my dad's side, and we tried to keep in touch with as much, and it's hard because we were in Missouri, and they're all on the East Coast, so we would get out there maybe once a year. But again, there's such an age difference. I'm the mistake of the family. There's 9 years between me and my sister, and 12 years between me and my brother, and that's true with all the other cousins. So like when we would go back east, as my mom liked to call it, we would road trip out there. They were all off living their lives. So that's the thing. So
that's different.
Yeah. So it was one that was like, okay, cool. Like we had that. And then last night though, let me tell you, it was a balm for my soul. I got to reunited with a longtime friend who had moved. She is an educator, and she and her family. Girl, I was just thinking about this morning. Like, how awful was this? She got a teaching position, a nice administration position at a college in upstate New York. And they moved from Chicago with their high school, or I think junior high school aged child, to upstate New York in January of 2020. And then we all know what happened in March.
Yes.
Yeah. So, the entire family, like they had moved, then they had to be quarantined, and that, like, it was just really hard for them.
Give you a chance to meet people or anything.
Yeah. And so and there was just a lot of stuff with the university and closing things down and opening things up, like all that sort of stuff. So that was particularly challenging. But now they're in Little Rock, but they're back in town. So I got to see just a dear friend of mine. We ended up hitting up that little strip on Broadway by Argyle. Like Little Vietnam.
Yeah.
So we were over there. We were going to get some dim sum. We ended up going to this great place to get some cold ramen, which I'd never had.
Cold ramen?
Yeah. It was because it was so hot out. They were like, if you don't want a hot ramen, what they've done is there was this great dish where they had like the noodles were soaked in the broth. But it was served cold.
Oh, so it was already flavorful.
So it was already flavorful. So it was like a little bit of it was so good. And we just walked around, and then we went and got some Jenny's Splendid ice cream, and we hung out in Andersonville and just sat and listened. There was a little jazz combo that was just out busking, right there on the corner. So we just kind of hung out. It was a beautiful night. It was really, really great.
Good. I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah. So it was a nice way to kind of like, cap off the weekend, as it were.
Yeah.
Because like, let me tell you, the vibe these days is really, it's getting weirder. It's getting weirder, and people do not know how to deal with their emotions right now, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I've seen some of that too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like, there's sort of just, people are just kind of...
They're on edge.
They are oddly demanding. In weird ways, especially when you're in a customer service.
I was going to say in the job you're doing,
in a retail position, it's just like, oh, okay,
you really see it there.
Yeah, and people get, I don't know. It's like food is a very personal thing for people, I think, and they get very. I can't really describe the words.
Primitive, tribal.
It's not. I get. It's not even. I think it's just more complicated than that. I think it's just like people don't want to talk to you. There's an isolation sort of thing. I see a number of people who are just like coming through, who walk through the store with giant headphones on. Don't engage. And those people.
Are they of a certain age, by any chance?
They're kind of. It goes across the spectrum. I mean,
because the younger generation is a whole different deal.
Oh, 100%. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They don't want to have anything to do with anybody.
No.
It's their own little insular world. But it's just like, I mean, a customer hit another customer this week.
You told me. And what did you see it or hear about it?
I heard it. I was like standing in the grocery aisle, and I was writing the order. Because that's what I do. I bring in the food, and all of a sudden I just hear like, stop it. Like a woman had hit another woman because she thought she cut in line.
And she hit her.
And she smacked her. And glasses flew off. She was an older lady. Oh yeah. It was
Who
like,
was
it was
the
a whole
older?
thing.
The older was the hitter or the hittee?
Hittee. Well, they were both older.
Okay.
They were both like, it was just so.
She slapped her.
She
knocked her glasses off. And then what did management do?
They escorted her out, and they wanted to see if she wanted to press charges, and she did not, and they took care of
Yeah, because the minute you lay a hand on somebody, you can press charges.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it was a hearty whack.
Did the woman later say something like, I don't know what I was thinking, I just lost my temper or anything?
No. In fact, it escalated and got there were a lot of F-bombs being thrown around and everything. Like, it was just, I'm like, what is going on? Like, everybody needs to calm down. Calm down and remember, as you were saying, from the Square Roots Fest, we need community.
Yeah.
We need the thing that's going to get us through all of this crap that we're living through is being neighborly.
Yes.
Being neighborly and kind and looking out for one another. And people just need to calm down. I don't know what it is. And
I think people feel helpless, especially people maybe around here where we live, and knowing what what our political views are in the Chicago area. And I think they don't know where to put these feelings. And sadly, I mean, most people, I'm trying to put them into music and joy and friends and keep, listen, we do a radio show. I have to keep aware of what's going on, but I am not immersing myself. I do not have CNN on. I don't even I used to watch the 5:30 national news. I have my phone with New York Times. I get all the important stuff. I see the headline. If I want to delve, I can. I'm just telling people, one of the reasons I was always watching some of these is I was looking for good news.
Yeah.
You're not going to find
there's
it.
No good.
and when the time comes to find it, which hopefully will be in next year with the midterms and then 2 years after that, we will have things to look for. But right now, self-preservation, be kind to your neighbors, enjoy the culture and all the things that are available to you, and just try not to get bogged down in all of the negativity, because there's plenty of it out there.
Yeah. I'm easier said than done. Like we're all saying, it's just clearly like things are really affecting people. It's affecting me. I don't think I have ever been this anxious in my life, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is that I'm anxious about. It's a really weird feeling. Like, just getting up and I'm like getting ready for going to the baby shower, and meeting a friend in one day. I was like, I can't think. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. Fortunately, I'm like, Jerry, I need you to help me out. Like, can you take care of this thing? But it's like, I'm filled with anxiety.
Well,
24/7.
I think some people are still, I'm not saying this is true of you, but, the pandemic is still having an effect on people. Their lifestyles change. A lot of people, they kind of were, if they were predisposed to being a little more isolated at all, then they got that, whether they wanted it or not. And then some people haven't come out of it as much, maybe, as would be best socially for them and their social.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think that is necessarily my case.
No, I don't think that's your case.
But I see that. But it's just like, it's really, I don't know. I keep going back to our phones. It's all about our phones' problems. The fact that we spend so much time just doing this,
scrolling and etc.
or whatever, just like staring into it. It is just
we're all guilty. I mean, no one waits in line anymore and just talks to somebody else or looks around or sits in a meditative. I do the same. We pull our phone out and start scrolling to amuse ourselves and see what's going on.
I know, and that's not good. It's not good for your brain. It's not good for the culture. There is something about people don't know how to be bored anymore. They don't know how to be bored.
No, you're right. Yeah.
You don't know how to just sit there and be like, and entertain yourself or figure out like, oh, I'll do this. It's just more like, and then all of the stuff that's being tossed around on these sites that people are looking at, which we've talked about endlessly here on Out Chicago. It's like it is a curated news feed. Like any sort of news that you're getting is specifically aimed at you.
Even when they post something that supposedly what's his bun said on it, they're not even true half the time. There was one that was out there about the floods, and you could believe that he could say horrible things, but this one was, and of course in Snopes it was not true. So even things that appear to be real, you got to be really careful. Even
you need to check your sources, and then you have AI Grok this week going like full on racist. The AI element that is on X, formerly known as Twitter, went full on Hitler this week. Yes, it was like filled with anti-Semitic stuff, and they finally came out with, it was a programming error, but look, this is what's happening. Put your phones down, kids. Let's talk. Let's just be with one another.
I know. I literally took my Apple Watch off before I went to anniversary dinner and put a watch, because even if I get things on here, I want to be completely in the moment with Kathy.
Be there with Kathy.
And I had to take that extra step. And I wanted to take a picture of my food, but I didn't want to bring my phone out because I know there would have been something on there, a message that I would have
ignored.
And I didn't take the phone out. And of course, the minute one of us went to the bathroom at the end of the dinner, we both pulled our phones out.
Right.
Because we were sitting by ourselves. Welcome to how human nature operates these days.
I know. I'm not, but this old grumpy Gus is like, I'm not happy about it.
I know.
Get off of my lawn, read a book.
But speaking
Go
of
for a walk.
Operating, I think we need to operate.
We need to operate towards a break. You're sure right on that. But before we do that, let's pay some bills. And this part about Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you're having trouble keeping up with your bills, it's time to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, about a fresh start debt consolidation mortgage. Sam, 56, a press operator, earning $90,000 a year, living in a $300,000 single family home with a $150,000 mortgage. Despite having equity in his home, Sam missed his January mortgage payment, which dropped his credit score more than 60 points and prevented him from refinancing until February of next year. Now, if Sam called Team Hochberg in December, they could have helped him pay off his debt, avoid missing his mortgage payment, and enhance his credit scores. So if you are struggling with bills and have equity in your home, call Team Hochberg now. Not tomorrow, not next week, or next month at 855-563-2843. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. The number again is 855-563-2843 or visit the website you know and love, 56david.com. Lure.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Tuff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along on a beautiful Sunday, feeling like July. Hey, and don't forget, you can listen to, rate, and share the Out Chicago full episodes and featured interview podcasts. Come on, do it. They're both available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Amazon. Basically, everywhere you get your podcasts. Search for Out Chicago or get the links on our show page by visiting heartlandsignal.com and clicking on our lovely little picture. Our full episode podcast features the full Pride Parade from 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
And then and our featured interviews streams has a compilation of our very own Carrie Dobbin talking to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker, Illinois Democratic Reps Mike Quigley, Robin Kelly, and Jan Schakowsky, and more. So go check it out.
Go check it out. I had somebody at the Square Roots Fest told me that they were glued to their radio during our broadcast. It made me so happy.
That's nice.
A lot, as we age, and my friends are my age, a lot of them don't brave the parade anymore for different reasons, but so many of them listen here listen on WCPT. Yeah, we brought it into their living room.
That's what we're doing.
It's always a fun time. 2 weeks ago already. Seems like forever ago.
It does seem like forever ago, doesn't it? It's so crazy, but it's only been 2 weeks. Last week it was 4th of July.
It goes by fast.
It's just so weird. Well, not even fast. It just feels like that happened 8 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Bananas.
Crazy.
Bananas. And I think it's mostly because, like, the news of the week is just, like, it's so kooky pants bananas that it's hard to, like, all of this happened in a week. What's going on here? And here, I think the cherry on the cake of this week, which really has, like, some MAGA panties in the wad, was, well, apparently the Epstein files don't exist.
Yeah, just magically they just
don't exist anymore. Even though, what was it, like a month ago, they were just sitting on Pam Bondi's desk.
To look at it on her desk.
She's got it right on her desk. She's reviewing all of those files and everything. And now they decided that we're done.
What Epstein files?
What are you talking about? There's nothing there. Like, one of the things that people on the X, the Twitter, they are losing their minds.
I heard the MAGA people are losing their minds.
That's what I mean, the MAGA people, because that's basically who's on the Twitters.
Oh, yeah, I don't go on too much.
I just go to see, like, what? Okay, ugh, and it's gross.
Because they wanted to see it.
Yeah, because they're convinced
that Clinton's on it.
That everybody's on it. Mm-hmm. And then, and here's the thing that I just don't understand. I just don't get it. I mean, you've got horrible conditions down at that stupid alligator Alcatraz thing going on there. The horrible disaster of the floods in Texas with how many 160 people are still missing?
Still missing.
The fact that the cuts that were going on with NOAA and the National Weather Service, that affected the preparedness of a disaster that probably could have been avoided, and then it happens every week. There is, like, bad stuff, big super duper news dump on Friday with all the bad stuff, including, there is no Epstein file, and then, like, Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi get into a fight, and he's like, I'm not going to go to work, and I'm not just quit my job. Blah, blah, blah. Every week, all of that stuff happens, and then on Saturday, he releases some sort of dumb, stupid, larger than life stupid statement. Yeah. This week it was about Rosie O'Donnell, how she's enemy number one. Yeah. She's a danger to the United States, and he's going to revoke her citizenship.
Yes.
It's like, that is the dumbest thing I think I have ever heard in my entire life. I know, but people are like, like, that's not how it works.
These people, if they had knowledge, Scott, of how it works, we would never be in the position we're in today. But apparently, people are just living under a rock. A lot of them, the ones that elected him for, to president, and the administration in general. These people are like, what? You mean they're doing this? I didn't know this was going to happen. Yeah,
he told us. He told everybody. Everything was laid out. It's just it boggles my mind. Yeah, completely. Every single time, I'm just like,
me too.
Yeah, so folks, there's still stuff going on. There's still horrible things. There's zero. I really don't like this man.
Oh, gosh, no.
And because of this whole Epstein file thing, where everybody's, like, coming out of the woodwork going, like, no, we want to know. We want to know what's going on here. What are you talking about? This is what you ran on, about releasing these files and, like, getting all these pedophiles off the streets. I bet you anything, none of those pedophiles on that list are of the LGBTQ community.
I know. I'm guessing none of them are.
But because we're all,
he was going to get the hardened criminals, deported, but there's not enough hardened criminals, so they're just going out after anybody they can find. I mean, there's so many promises. The war was the Russia-Ukraine war was going to end, in 2 days and a day. Just one lie after the other, and the guy said whatever, as we know. Whatever he thought his MAGA base would buy into to elect him. And once he's there, he doesn't give a darn what the reality of it is.
Oh, yeah. And he's like making a ton of money off of Bitcoin.
More money than ever.
Like it is so. Somebody please explain it to me.
Why he's whitewashing America, which is his goal. Him and his
We know
minions.
exactly why he's whitewashing America, because he's racist.
Yes, he's racist in anybody that thinks that this person is not a racist or has a racist agenda, or his administration, the Stephen Millers, the people that were the architects of Project 2025 are not racist and want America to look white, are crazy. And a lot of these people are, there's a fair amount of Hispanic men that voted for him. And I have a feeling some of them are getting a rude awakening.
Oh, a lot of people are.
But,
yeah.
Now what? We're stuck for the next 3 years. And then who knows beyond that?
Yeah, it's like
I know. Joy. Okay.
Happy. Joy. But again, going back to the whole like Epstein file case and everything, and people are very much up in arms about that. Dan Bongino, the deputy director of FBI, and Attorney General Pam Bondi. They got into it. There were like a really, really heated argument about what's going on, about like leaks that are happening through the FBI, and then Bongino, he just he decided he's not going to come to work on Friday, and he's thinking about resigning because his job is hard. He said, "I get there at 7:30 in the morning, and sometimes I don't leave until 6:30." Oh no. You're deputy director of the FBI. You might need to put in some hours there.
Yeah, that's part of the job.
Ding Dong keeps getting mad at reporters for bringing up the Epstein file. Like, why are you doing this? He's dead. And
keep bringing it up, reporters. You need to hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah, and if you think that this is not some weird sort of rise of fascism that's happening here, the FBI is now doing polygraph tests on agents to test their loyalty to the agency, and more importantly, to Director Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Like, what? A quick reminder, folks, anybody who works for the federal government, anybody who works for the FBI, they are not following a leader. They are protecting the Constitution.
He will never see it that way. It's all about him.
I know. Well, it's also all about these two ding-dongs. Kash Patel clearly realizes that he's got a PR problem with his image. Have you seen some of the new photographs of Kash Patel? The one that kept coming out.
His eyes are
those
crazy.
Crazy eyes.
He's got crazy eyes. He has crazy eyes.
But now it looks kind of like he went to a glamour shot at the mall.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's something just kind of soft and almost like a beautiful blue sky behind him. And it's like it seemed like they may have photoshopped out a little kitty. That was he's just kind of sitting there, that's how serene, and he just looks, and they're do something they had to fix his eyeballs. But he knows he's got a PR problem. Nobody likes him. And he attacks the world with crazy. It's crazy. Everything is it's just bananas. And again, so to continue to chum the waters, to feed and stir up that MAGA base, this week, Department of Justice, they've issued subpoenas to doctors and medical clinics involved in gender affirming care for minors. So they are going after actual individual doctors, and this comes right on the heels of that whole Tennessee decision that happened, where the Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's ban on gender affirming care for trans minors. Now, that whole thing is also a very slippery slope, because a lot of experts warn that the ruling in that case in Tennessee also threatens to open up the door for states to ban care for trans adults as well.
Sure. Who knows where it can end? Yeah.
So it's one of these things that we have to just a reminder, folks. Well, how many trans folks do you think are here in the United States? How big of a population is this community? 0.01% of the population identifies as trans. Okay.
Yeah.
0.01. And this is what you're all worried about. This is what you're all worried about, weird things of your kids going to school in the morning as one
coming
gender.
Back as a girl. Leaves as a boy, comes back as a girl.
What are you talking about?
And then people they believe him because they're idiots. They don't look further.
Oh, I know. And then what's her woman, Riley Graves or whatever, that swimmer? the swimmer who, like, she's very big in the no trans women in sports. She's like leading that charge because she was beaten by a trans athlete in a swim meet. It's like, lady, you got fifth.
Yeah, you
got fifth. You
one
were
trans
beat by
person and three others.
They tied. She and the other swimmer, Leah. I forget Leah's last name, but because of this woman, she made them take back all of her titles and ribbons, and disqualified her. But you know what?
What?
She's still fifth.
Yeah.
She's still in fifth place. She tied for fifth. And this is like, there's just ugliness and hatred and small-mindedness that's fueling this whole thing.
Definitely.
The MAGA cult is definitely a cult, and it's all about preserving and giving value to their very tiny, tiny, tiny lives.
Yes.
And I'm saying tiny just in terms of expanse. Right. I don't think anybody has a small life. Right. You know, you were surrounded by people who love you. You have loved ones. You know, hopefully you go to a job that you enjoy. You know, you're able to do these things, but your worldview is small. Mm-hmm. And the world is passing you by. And the only way that you can give value to your life is if you are putting other people down or critical of others and but not even critical of others, like going after them. Mm-hmm. Like they are going after trans folks. They are going after trans kids. You want to talk about parents' choice in education? What about parents' choice in how their kids live and their medical care that grows up, like that's growing up? How can you separate these two? You can't. Just a reminder, again, according to the Advocate, all major medical associations, including the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Medical Association, the Endocrine Society, and the American Psychiatric Association, support gender-affirming care for minors as evidence-based, effective, and safe when delivered under the supervision of qualified physicians. Decades of research show that such care may include social support, puberty blockers, hormones, or in some cases surgery, improves mental health outcomes and reduces rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide among transgender youth.
Those are facts. They don't like those.
Right.
They don't pay attention to those.
But that is the thing. Like, just a reminder, everybody. And again, this is 0.01% of the population. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's going on. I don't know what you think is going to happen to you.
It's a $1 million question.
It is. And any hoozles. That's my soapbox. Hey, we should probably take a break. But when we come back, we are going to be speaking with one of the talented members of the cast of Always Something There, now playing at Marriott Theater. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hi, my name is Amy Sumter. I'm a comedian as well as She's Crafty, and you are listening to Out Chicago.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along. Actually, we're going to get a little rolling back.
Yes.
Going back to the 80s going on right now, because Marriott Theater right now is presenting Always Something There, a vibrant new jukebox musical from Chicago-based playwright Sandy Reston that's set to an electrifying soundtrack of hits from the 1980s. And joining us now is one of the multi-talented members of the cast, Caleb Mathura. Caleb, welcome to the show and congrats. How is the show going?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's going really well. The Chicago audiences have been a blast, and the show's so much fun, and it's been a great experience, yeah.
Gotta love that. So can you tell us a little bit more about the story behind Always Something There?
Yeah, so Always Something There follows the story of Samantha Craig, who is a woman who wakes up as her 18-year-old self on her 45th birthday, and she realizes that she now has the chance to go back in time and change the entire trajectory of her life for the better, getting the ultimate do-over experience. And it's really a story about self-discovery and second chances that's powered by the music of the 80s, featuring the greatest hits by Madonna and Whitney, the Go-Go's, and so many more legends. And at the end of the day, it's a love letter to this incredible era. That will be a blast for the whole family.
Well, look at you. There we go. A blast for the whole family there, Caleb. What role do you play in Always Something There that's now playing out at Marriott Theater?
Yeah, so I played Ducky. He's the drummer in the band. He's really anxious, but he loves to drum, and he's part of the Rubber Band, which is his high school band that does a lot of these songs.
Oh, okay. And I love the fact that there's a ducky thrown in there, a little tip of the hat to Pretty in Pink. Yes. Right there.
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, he definitely pays homage to that iconic ducky.
So Caleb, this is being a musical review more than a book musical. Do you approach it differently?
No, it's a book musical.
It is a book musical?
Yeah, it's just a jukebox just means that there are multiple different songs. So it's a similar approach for you than it would be for any musical that you would do, or is there any difference here?
Yeah, so it's the same as like a play, but the scenes and moments in the show are connected by the music of the 80s in a really awesome way that kind of ties everything together. But there are characters; they're not reenacting any of the singers who created these songs. So it has its own storyline that's very similar to almost like Back to the Future, a lot of those iconic 80s movies.
Got it. Now,
vibe of that.
So Always Something There to remind you. And I'm a different age than Scott. I'm a different age than you. When I think of that song, I think of the Burt Bacharach version that came out in the 60s. Dionne Warwick sang. Burt wrote it.
Yes.
This is Naked Eyes, though.
Naked Eyes is the 80s band who did it. Yes. So it's just, when I first heard the title, my mind went to the 60s, but the playwright decided that the remake version of that song would be what they would base it on because of the storyline, I guess, of her going back in time, right?
Time, yeah, and we also have Locomotion, which I know was a big part of the 60s, and we have the 80s version of that in there as well.
Kylie Minogue.
Yes.
I'm here, baby, for you.
Kylie.
See, I know all the original versions, so
I know the original ones too.
Yeah, do you? Well, you're right in between there. So you should.
But one of the most exciting things, like Marriott Theater, is considered one of the little crown jewels of the Chicago musical theater scene, and they haven't really often done new works, and this is a brand new musical. What was it like? Was Sandy Rustin, the playwright, was she there? Describe the process of creating a new musical.
Yeah. For sure. So Sandy was there from her very first rehearsal, and she would come back in as we were rehearsing, and it was really awesome to have her in the room with us to kind of guide us through her vision for the show that she created with the actors who are bringing these characters to life. And the process is nice because you have so much more creative freedom. Every individual person can really choose where they want to go with their character with the help from a director and a choreographer. And so it's just a lot of creative freedom that we have that we don't always get when we're doing a show that's already set and already has a kind of a breakdown of what they're going for. So it allows us to kind of choose our own adventure in a way that still ties the storyline together completely.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the most. I always love working on new plays, new shows, because there is a real sense of collaboration that goes on. Were you getting rewrites and things like that throughout the process?
Oh yeah,
that's always fun,
throughout
right?
Previews, like from our first performance to opening night, we had a lot of changes. A whole scene was changed. A character was taken out and put in to the end instead of the beginning, and we. Up until the very opening, when we froze the show, everything is changing. And our incredible lead, Christina Priestner, was switching lines and adding lines. Basically, every show they were adding things and taking away things, and it definitely works a part of your brain that's not utilized when you just get a script and you memorize it as it is and you perform it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh my God. But I love that because everybody's kind of like, everybody's ultra aware. They're right on board with you. Like, all right, we've got the new scene and the thing is moved to this part. And oh my God. Yeah. And everybody's just like, we're in it to win it. For me, like as an actor, those moments are always kind of, I just love them. I love them.
Yes. Yeah. They're incredible.
Were there any big challenges while you were being a part of this, I guess, this is the original cast? Yes?
Yeah, the original company.
Of
Yeah.
Always Something There that's now playing at Marriott Theater.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a challenge because it's also kind of a gift, but working in the round, something that's unique about the Marriott is it's in the round. So we have audience members on all four sides of the theater. And I remember our first day moving into the theater, I was so disoriented because our set is so symmetrical. It's really hard to tell where you're coming in from and where you're exiting because we don't have stage left, stage right. We have four different possibilities, basically,
right.
and it takes a second to orient yourself. So I think that it's an incredible thing to work in the round because the audience is close to you. You can really see everyone's faces, but it's a big adjustment from proscenium stages, which is where it's just stage and audience is in front of you.
Yeah, and there's no place to hide.
I guess it stretches some different muscles for you to be in that setting, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, you're a Midwest native.
Yes.
You're now based out in New York. But how does it feel to be back in the Midwest for the world premiere of Always Something There?
It's been so awesome. I mean, I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, so it's a couple hours away, and I've already had probably like 20 family members come and see the show. My brother just left this morning. My mom is coming today. My aunt is coming today. So being able to be in a show that is so close to home is really incredible and something that is rare for me, and it's been such a gift, and the Marriott's been so wonderful, bringing families in to see the show and having them stay at the hotel and things like that. So it's been such a gift.
That's nice. Yeah, the hotel's right there. It's all in one. One-stop shopping to see you, Caleb. That's perfect.
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly.
So when folks do come to see the show, Always Something There, what do you hope they take away with them?
I think it's a good reminder to remember that how you act right now can affect your life in 20 years, and the people that you surround yourself with, these are people that could be in your life for a very long time. So just to be cognizant of making sure that you are advocating for yourself and kind of creating the life you want to lead, whether you're 18 or 45 or 70. It's one of those things where you're always kind of setting yourself up to prepare for the next day. You know? Yeah.
It's kind of like almost like a little sliding doors kind of moment. That is a very. Exactly. Do you understand? I'm sorry. I'm like, that might be a dated
sliding
reference.
Door.
That can screw you over there. It's a Gwyneth Paltrow movie.
Okay.
So, from the 90s. Okay. Basically, like whether she gets on the train or she gets off the train changes the course of their life. So it seems like it's a really empowering moment, you know, to be like,
it is.
To like the choices that you make will affect the next thing.
And I think a lot of people have I've thought about, you know, if I could go back in time and would I change things and what would I change? Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have played that little mental game so they can watch it unfold before them right there at the Marriott Theater.
Yeah. And even just the creation of the show, like I know our playwright Sandy, she talked about how all these iconic movies of the 80s, the women in those films were really treated pretty terribly. And this is a story that incorporates all of the aesthetics of the 80s, but kind of rewrites how a young woman would advocate for herself in that time, which is really awesome.
That's
that
so
the message of the show is being implemented within the show itself just every night.
Excellent.
Is there a specific year? I mean, we're talking like 80s.
1989.
Okay, cool. So you do get the whole decade of stuff in there. Is there a particular song that or a couple songs that you're like, I get to do this today? Like you're getting really excited.
I love Together Forever. I never heard the song by Rick Astley until the show. And then Material Girl, our trio of girls who sing it are just incredible. The vocals are... This cast is stacked with so many incredible people, and I always listen to Material Girl every night. I'm not in the song, but it's just so much fun to listen to and kind of hear it from the audience's perspective every night.
Oh my gosh!
I can picture it. It sounds great.
It sounds like it's a great trip down memory lane for some folks. A great introduction to some fun '80s music, and a perfect night for everybody to just kind of sit back and be like, "All right, let's make some decisions about our lives. Like let's be kind and stand up for ourselves." So, congratulations on everything. The world premiere of the musical mixtape "Always Something There" runs through August 10th at Marriott Theater. For more tickets, go to MarriottTheater.com, and that's theater together with an R-E because they are fancy that way. Caleb and Dora, thank you so much for joining us today. And
thank you for having me.
Have a great matinee.
Break a leg for your mom out there today.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. We have got to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the second hour of Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. Just rolling along.
It's kind of a hazy, lazy days of summer out there. It's
the hazy, lazy days.
The hazy, lazy, crazy days. Isn't that the word? Was that the lyric?
I have no idea.
Remember that
what do you
song?
say? No.
Oh, it's an old song. It's a hazy, crazy, lazy, You don't know that song?
I don't think I do, but I look forward to hearing from it. Like that should be really exciting. There we are. But hey, we've got a great second hour lined up for you, and we would love to hear from you. So, you can visit us through the Credo mobile phone and text line. That number is 773-763-9278. Credo Mobile, a progressive phone company that is better for all people in the planet. Visit credomobile.com. So if you hear a little something you want to shoot a little comment, please send us a text. It'd be great. Later on this hour, we are going to be speaking with Michael Herman. He is the CEO of Chicago House and Social Service Agency. It's a great agency here in Chicago that deals with works with folks who are living with HIV/AIDS. And they're coming up on a big milestone this year too. So we're going to be speaking with him a little bit later on. And I'm so excited about our next guest, this kicking things off. Invictus Theatre Company, first of all, they've been kicking some serious butt lately, over the past couple of years since their inception. They're kind of becoming like the heroes, dare I say, of the incredible Chicago storefront theater scene. And they are currently presenting Angels in America, a gay fantasia on national themes. If you are unfamiliar with that, it is Tony Kushner's two-part Pulitzer Prize-winning, expansive, poetic, and politically charged look at the 80s in America. And joining us now is the founding artistic director of Invictus and the show's director, Charles Askenaizer. Charles, welcome to the show.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and congratulations. The reviews have been fantastic, and, it's just, Invictus is like slowly taking over Chicago, so congratulations with that.
Thank you. Yeah, one show at a time.
One show at a time.
Chicago, tomorrow, the world.
But hey, let me tell you, it's really hard these days to have a theater company. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mission of Invictus Theatre Company?
Yeah. Our mission, it's producing works of heightened language, and so a lot of times when I ask that, I see people's face go blank, and they're like, "What is heightened language?" And heightened language, it's just poetry. So works that have, and the whole work doesn't have to necessarily have poetry throughout the entirety of it. It's just got to have instances of it. And speaking of Angels in America, I mean,
wow,
Tony Kushner's, it is so poetic and lyrical. I mean, it's truly just a masterpiece. So it's a perfect example of the kind of work that we like to produce.
Yeah, and that, I thank you so much for putting it so clearly, because going through, I'm sitting like, oh, network. Yeah, I could see how that definitely is like moments of big poetry. And of course, the Shakespeare that you all do and just amazing stuff. And now you are here with Angels in America. Both parts. I mean, this play it's huge. As you were saying, like it is poetic. It is not without its challenges, because it's like there's reality, but then there's this whole, as it says, it's a gay fantasia on national themes. There is something that's like so big and can only be done in a theater. What was your rehearsal process like?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's been a 6-month rehersal process.
Whoa!
So
Wow!
Yeah. Wow. So I knew that we started in February, and we knew that it. I mean, when I was planning the season and planning the year, I knew that we would have to, at the very least, double everything. And in some cases, we've kind of done 2.5 times the amount of scheduling that we do for this show. So yeah, I think it's a 26-week commitment for the actors. So it's the majority of the year. But the play demands it. It needs it. It and it deserves it too. And the audiences deserve that as well. And to be fully fleshed out and realized. And then besides that, we just approached it the way we do with any other piece. Starting our first rehearsals with the reading of the piece. We had one, because it's so long, we had one rehearsal was part one, and then the next rehearsal we read through part two, and then spending a week and a half talking about the characters and doing table work, and then getting on our feet and working the scenes and going from there.
Yeah. How in 2025 does Angels in America still resonate and matter?
Yeah, Tony Kushner was just so prescient when he was writing this. And it's actually funny, in my research, some of the people were interviewing him and asking him, how did you, it's like you had a crystal ball in front of you. How did you do that? And he said, I just write about what's happening now. And of course that was, in the context of Reagan and the AIDS crisis, back in the 80s. But so much of it, it's like same stuff, different decade with our country. And it's, the AIDS crisis, it's not, as
prevalent,
how shall we say, prevalent
or dire.
As dire. But the political through line in his play is almost more so now and more relevant. I mean, he has one scene where he has this Martin, this young Republican who's played by the actress who played Harper, because he has everybody playing multiple roles, talking about, we're going to load the Supreme Court and, we'll, get rid of affirmative action and abortion and all these things. And it's like, oh my God, he wrote this 40 years ago, 40 years ago, and it's all come true.
It's so sad.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like we might have gotten over our skis right now. Some folks might not know the story of Angels in America. Can you, if it is possible, to take a 6-hour play and to produce it, what is the story of Angels in America?
So I think, and this is a total reduction and is not getting like hardly any of the nuance, but Prior Walter is a gay man in New York City who has contracted AIDS, and it's following his journey through that in Reagan-era America. And again, that is a total reduction of the story.
Yes.
There is so much more happening, but that's kind of the log line, I guess.
Right, there you go. I mean, yes, it is much more expansive. I mean, you've got Roy Cohn involved in there. You've got folks who are like devout Mormons coming through, then the Mormon church, and then there's all sorts of things. You've got addictions, there's racism, there's what it means to be black in America, what does it mean to be queer in America. It is not a tiny play. It is very, it's one of the most, it is like Shakespeare in a way, like when one performs Shakespeare, for me, my experience is like you've never felt more eloquent or well-spoken in your entire life. It's just like a privilege to speak these words. And the same thing goes with Tony Kushner's writing for Angels in America, Part 1, Millennium Approaches, and Part 2, Perestroika. It's just what sort of... Because it is set in the 80s, and because... a lot of your cast, I'm assuming, was not around during the 80s. What sort of dramaturgy did you, because, you said that you spent a week and a half of table work. What sort of dramaturgy was going on with that?
Yeah, well, we did have a dramaturg. We also, the cast and myself, we all did tons and tons of research before we started it. You have to. There are like references within references in this play too, and if you don't catch them or aren't aware of them, you're missing 30 to 40% of the play. But one of the biggest things that I really, really wanted to impose on the actors is the sense of danger of the times and the sense of danger of the disease as well. There's this book that I read called The World Only Spins Forward, which they talk about the production of Angels in America and other productions of Angels in America through different interviews. And they would talk about how in San Francisco during the AIDS crisis, it was not uncommon to see people dying in the streets of this disease. And it just, just the horror of that. And COVID, I think, is kind of a parallel. And so we can kind of relate to that. But, for those of us who were just children during the time, it really, and so there were, there's a documentary called 5B, which was about the first AIDS ward in San Francisco.
We've actually had the filmmakers on the show.
Yeah. Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
I mean, incredible. So informative and so powerful. And, reading books and watching YouTube clips about it, and just anything and everything we could get our hands on. And of course, there are older actors in the play too who lived through it and were able to share their experiences about it as well. So, that was. Go ahead.
Yeah, I always think it's really interesting. I mean, fortunately, thank you, modern medicine and science and medical research that was funded, and all this, that the whole HIV/AIDS epidemic is now basically under control, more under control. And of course, and now it is very much still like up in the air right now. But I think one of the biggest challenges is, as you were saying, conveying to a younger audience how dire this situation was, and like that's one of those things that I'm so grateful that there is Angels in America to remind folks like this happened, and it was terrifying for a generation of gay men.
Yeah, and this was in that documentary 5B as well too, and and again, like I was saying, it's like same stuff, different decade when it comes to our country. They were, the right and like Reagan and all that, cohort. They, because they didn't understand the disease, didn't want to understand it, and so it was all about just like othering these people. And so already you have the stigma about being homosexual in this country, but then you layer on you're homosexual with this incredibly dangerous disease that no one either wants to understand or they're learning about. And, they were talking about, again, in that documentary about like putting people in camps too. It's just like, it was a laughable disease at the White House press conferences. We have clips of that in our show as well. In our sound designer, he's brilliant. He kind of built it in. But yes,
yeah, it's fantastic. And one of the wonderful things again about Angels in America, both parts 1 and 2, Millennium Approaches and Perestroika. Yes, it tackles some very, very, very big themes. Again, it's a gay fantasia on national themes. But the thing that's also there is joy. There's humor. It's a funny play. There's some really funny parts in there.
Yeah, and how do you handle the two parts? You got are they different nights? Are they every other night, or how does it work?
Yeah, so we do it because I knew there would be people out there. I'm one of them included who would want to see the whole thing in a day. I mean, it is like it's an experience that doesn't come along very often.
Right.
So when scheduling it, we did. Friday nights are always part 1. And then Saturday matinees are always part 1, and then Saturday evenings are part 2, so people can see the whole thing in one day. And then Sundays are part 2, and then we alternate every Monday between part 1 and part 2. And Monday is sort of our industry night, discounted ticket night as well.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I mean, that's part of this work. It's always been, it's long, involved, and wonderful work. But do you find that, is it a challenge to have 2-3 hours? The first part 1 is 3 hours, I believe. Part 2 is 3:45. Are people willing? Are hopefully to devote the time in this short attention span world that we live in today?
Yeah, it's really rewarding, and kind of when you're in the theater and you can't pull your phone out, you're sort of forced to pay attention. And not only that, but I mean, the writing is so good. And I mean, really Kushner captured lightning in a bottle with this play. I mean, it's so engaging and so gripping. And even the structure of it, with Millennium Approaches, you've got, you've got one act, which is an hour, and then you have a break. And then you have another act, which is an hour, which is a break, and then a break. And then you've got kind of 50 minutes, which is the end of the show. And then it's done. You know, it goes very quickly. And part two is a little more demanding because it goes 90 minutes, then a break, and then like an hour-ish, and then a break, and then like an hour-ish, and then it's done. But it just structurally even it's built to keep your attention.
Yeah, and it flies by. I've seen both parts several times, and it's just it is completely riveting.
It flies by, yeah, for sure. Well worth it. Yeah. Well worth the effort for people to come see it.
And not only are you performing? First of all, I'm so happy that you're at the old Windy City Playhouse space.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a great convertible place. I have very many happy memories of there. I'm so glad that you are putting some wonderful work on stage there. But coming up, you have a couple of talkbacks that are going to be happening, post-show discussions featuring, Tracy Baim, who is the co-founder of Windy City Times, the queer newspaper here in Chicago and media source. But also Tony Kushner himself is going to be zooming in, I assume, for a talkback. Can you tell folks a little bit about these events?
Yeah. Well, Tracy Bain, it's actually today. If you want to head on over to the Windy City Playhouse,
is Tracy's?
and yes, yeah, that's today. And then Tony Kushner is the 20th. Is that? Yeah, that's next.
A week from today.
Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't. Our marketing person, Mary Carol Doherty. I mean, she coordinated all of that. I mean, she's a real dynamo. She reached out to Tony Kushner's agent and got it coordinated, and also reached out to Tracy Baim's agent, or Tracy Baim herself. And yeah.
Perfect.
It's great. I couldn't think of two more people. Just Tony Kushner, yes, right there. But also Tracy Baim. Today's discussion is going to be incredible because she's such a valuable resource. She was on the front lines covering the HIV/AIDS epidemic here in Chicago. Just to kind of give everybody context about that moment in history, and as you have so eloquently said about the challenges of the new administration that we might be facing again based on the cuts and the stigma and all of that stuff's going on. So, my friends, run, don't walk to go see Angels in America, Part 1, Millennium Approaches, and Part 2, Perestroika. It's presented by Invictus Theatre Company at the Windy City Playhouse. It runs through September 7th, so you've got some time.
Yeah, good long run. Perfect.
For more information and for tickets, go to invictustheatreco.com. And that's theater spelled with an R-E because they're fancy like that. Charles Askenaizer, thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on this beautiful work. And congratulations on, can't wait to see what Invictus does next.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Charles.
We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be speaking with the CEO of Chicago House and Social Service Agency, Michael Herman. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hi, I'm Spencer Tweedy, and you're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along right here. I'm very thrilled to be having our next guest on because Chicago House and Social Service Agency aims to play a critical role in eliminating new infections and getting to zero by 2030. And they believe that housing is essential to ending the HIV/AIDS epidemic. And joining us now is CEO of Chicago House, Michael Herman. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good afternoon. Great to be with you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. For folks who might not be familiar with Chicago House and Social Service Agency, can you just tell us a little bit about the history and mission of the organization?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we came into being during the AIDS crisis. So we were one of the organizations that kind of was founded as a reaction in the mid-'80s. So we're coming up on our 40th anniversary. And in the early years, we were a housing provider for people living with AIDS. We did a lot of hospice work, so a lot of people died. The community really responded and said, we can't let people just die, without a place where they're cared for. And so Chicago House did that for a number of years in the early years of the crisis, and then we converted to providing permanent housing for people who were dealing with HIV and AIDS. And, over the years, we've continued that work, and we have been very faithful, making a full circle. We are thrilled to be able to have discussions about aging people with HIV. So from those early years of hospice work to now really looking at how do we make sure those who are longtime survivors of HIV still have a safe and supportive place to live throughout till the end of their life.
Yeah. Again, it was very surprising to me. Well, I guess not surprising when I really think about it. But 50% of the folks living with HIV are over 50.
That is correct.
Yeah. Can you talk about delve in a little bit more about your work with this group?
Mm-hmm. So we have really kind of started to position ourselves, for many years we were looking at independence, getting people, back in the community, employment services, and we've just started to shift because they're anticipating in just a few years that number is going to go up to 70%
wow.
of people living with HIV over the age of 50. And the other thing that's coming on is especially our longtime survivors, they went through some pretty toxic medication, saved their lives, but also caused some harm to their bodies. And so we're seeing aging at a much earlier age. So obviously LGBTQ housing is a big issue for aging members of the community. I think people talk about it a lot. But with this population, they're aging at earlier ages, which will make them more vulnerable. And we are really looking to not have them go back in the closet. Especially people who live with us who've been out in the community and now all of a sudden, with their HIV status and going into a nursing home or those facilities. So we're really positioning ourselves. We've expanded our residential housing program. We've acquired more properties so that we just have more opportunities for people as they age to be able to live in community, to be able to have the supports around HIV that they need. And so that's our hope. That's our hope in what we continue to do and to train our staff. We're not used to an aging population,
right.
So a lot of training.
So, Michael, you're acquiring properties. I'm a real estate agent. I know how difficult it is. Is that challenge? Are you meeting that challenge, and how are you doing it? Because it's not easy, I can imagine.
Yeah, I may be at a community meeting tomorrow begging the community for some dollars to be able to build a project in East Garfield Park. So we are building right now in communities that still have higher rates of HIV infection. So we recently opened a building in West Inglewood. We are about ready to break ground. We've had some challenges with this current administration. There were new rules that are making it more challenging for us to get to groundbreaking on the project. And that's going to be in East Garfield Park. And recently we acquired some properties that had been previously managed by Heartland Alliance. And so those are in North Lawndale. So with that, we're going from 55 units of residential housing to nearly 150 units. So it's about a tripling of our housing portfolio. So most of those, some of them are new properties and some of them are acquired properties. So kind of a combination, but those usually a new property. East Garfield Park has been in the pipeline for 3 or 4 years, and we're hoping to get a shovel in the ground come before the summer gets fades away. So
that's challenging.
That's our hope.
But good for you. It sounds like you're making some good inroads, and those are the neighborhoods where you need to be. So property isn't quite as challenging, but it is still challenging. So good for you for getting there.
Our partnerships with the city and the county. In fact, the project in East Garfield Park, we're using the Cook County Land Bank, so they're vacant properties. So we're really I have a mind for development.
Yeah.
So I want to develop in neighborhoods. We did that years ago. We developed in Uptown. We developed in Edgewater. Those are communities where our buildings are now in, thriving communities. Sure. And that's the goal here as well. As we acquire some vacant properties and build, we know that those properties are going to be able to serve populations and have all those neighborhood services that are so important.
Beautiful.
So that's our hope in those areas as well.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Good plan. Thank you.
And it fits perfectly in with the whole tenet of Chicago House and Social Services Agency with housing as healthcare, which I think a lot of people may just take that for granted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, we were kind of, I'm going to call it trendsetters. We weren't the only ones. All of us working in HIV work, because you had that combination of the discrimination and people getting kicked out of apartments and not being welcomed back to their families. So health got connected to housing. And so the early work of the AIDS crisis was about saying, if we can't do health care if we can't get people housed.
Right.
And that isn't connected to most other illnesses, but it was very much connected to AIDS in the early years. And so we started saying that all the time, housing is health care. And now that's very common. You'll hear that all over the place. And this is some of our concerns right now. There's a big push away from, the administration is pushing people away from permanent supportive housing. And in fact, that's really how we've been able to maintain such good health for people, especially of lower income levels with HIV, is making sure they have stable housing. So that housing is health care. We know saves the system a fortune. So that is what we're kind of currently battling for. How do we continue to be able to do that for people with HIV so they can live close to a normal life expectancy? So that's our hope as we do this work.
Yeah. So just a little bit more on that. What sort of challenges are you running into with this current administration in terms of funding? I know a lot of agencies here in Chicago, just and across the country, are like they're preparing for this is the funding. The federal funding dollars might not be there.
Yeah, I spent my Friday. I wish I was planning housing and working on new programs, but we were doing scenario planning. And we went through all of our major funding sources, and we determined if we lost this funding source, what would happen. And I'll highlight just one today, and that's there's a funding source called HOPWA, Housing Opportunities for People with AIDS. And that we've depended on that for many years. It's a dedicated fund through HUD that allows us to house and provide support services for people living with HIV. And there is, it's rumored, our hopes is it won't happen. There's a lot of advocacy being done, that they'll start to eliminate those focused populations that are focused on people with HIV. And that would certainly hurt us, but all of the big cuts to HUD would also even have very strong effects on us. And it's a move away from this sense that people don't need permanent housing, that somehow they could get on their feet in 2 years and be good to go for, they don't need any more housing. And that's the movement. And we say permanent supportive housing for people who have behavioral health issues, who have chronic illnesses, who have poverty issues. All these issues, they need more permanency. And that is going to keep them healthy, keep them from, costing the healthcare system a fortune. Those are all things that are very positive, but this administration is moving like people can just take care of themselves. They could get some assistance, and then that's done.
I know, and that's like the maddening part about this, because as you were saying, like if you don't receive this money, it's going to cost the taxpayers more money. So that's the part where I'm like, my head would be bleeding from hitting it against a brick wall.
Yeah, and speaking of money, Michael, I remember back in the day, Chicago House used to have a fabulous gala and fundraiser. How are you raising funds these days? Do you still do a big gala, or I don't recall?
We do. do.
You do?
We used to do a gala, but we're still doing our infamous spring brunch and fashion show.
And the divine Megan Murphy, Big Red, was there. And let me tell you, she understood the assignment. She looked amazing. Sorry.
Fantastic. So it's passed for the big one has already happened this year. Is that what you're saying?
We did. We had it. It's always the first Sunday in May. It was a huge success. Obviously, people were very responsive to the current environment.
Yes.
And that was very beneficial to us. But I'm always clear with people because foundations and sponsors are, what will you do, if the government cuts? I'm like, in the housing world, you need public funding. You can't house people permanently without a source of public funding. And so that's a big, we need that combination. The private dollars are so important to really making sure we're what we call full services for people. Not all of that comes through our public funding, but we definitely need the public funding as well. So we're going into a bit of a battle with this, the budget process coming up that could, have very damaging effects. We're mitigating that. We're strategizing. We're advocating around that. But people need to understand this idea of just cutting the HUD budget by 44% is just
devastating.
Short-sighted.
Yeah.
Very short-sighted, and ultimately will lead to so many other difficulties.
So, Michael, along with, we've got housing as healthcare. I'm still kind of going back into my mind about that statistic of 50% of folks living with HIV are over 50. And, you were saying about how some of the medications earlier on were just like poison. They ravage the body. There are long-term effects because of it. People are here because of it, but it also did harm. I know a lot of my friends who are living with HIV, who are in this age bracket, are dealing with a lot of PTSD and survivor's guilt. Does Chicago House have some sort of are there programs that help address these, not just the physical effects of the early medications and early treatments, but just being mental health?
Yeah, and that is really a big part of kind of as we focus, what we call our Aging in Place program. That if you take someone who has all of that, who has that history, and unfortunately, we all run in circles where there isn't a ton of stigma around HIV, but in the general population, there still is.
Yeah.
And so if you take someone who's in that situation and all of a sudden they need to go to a nursing facility or something like that, we're finding there's huge discrimination that is going on in those facilities, which is why we're so dedicated to making sure we can support them. We can let them talk about being gay, having lost friends, surviving with HIV. All of those are conversations in our housing programs and our Aging in Place initiatives where those things will just naturally happen, and we will make sure they're part of the program versus going into senior housing where people aren't even talking about having HIV anymore, which is ultimately going to have devastating effects for their mental health as well as their physical health. They're definitely intimately connected.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. We may have gained some sort of ability to manage HIV, AIDS, and the whole program of getting to zero by 2030, which is the goal, especially here in Illinois. Hopefully, that is federally, but who knows what's going on there? But it really is the emotional toll. I think is something that people don't realize, as you were saying, for our circles, living in an LGBTQ community, in an LGBTQ world, the stigma is reduced. It's still there, but it is very much reduced. But the world at large, it's still some big stigma. And as the elder members of our community are aging, this whole issue of moving into like a assisted living or any sort of healthcare facility and people being forced to go back into the closet because of stigma. It's really an important thing, and I'm so glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, we've always appreciated Chicago House. They have been there from the forefront, and it's so gratifying to hear the work that you're still doing and getting the stability for housing, because it is good mental health helps good physical health. There's no question about it. So thank you.
And it's an amazing, if you look at our numbers, like someone who's in our residential housing program, stably housed, 90% are virally suppressed. The rates are so high.
Wow.
It almost goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Then you go to our scattered site program. So we're managing 350 apartments across the city with case management. And that drops a little bit because, again, we don't have the wraparound services are, so accessible and people could not take advantage of them the way they can in a residential facility, and that drops to about 80. And then people who are unstably housed, it drops below 70.
Wow.
So you just see housing, the radical difference. It is healthcare, and it's more than just being healthcare. It really helps people achieve health outcomes, which make HIV not detectable, which is why we're getting to zero. All of those factors kind of come together.
Yeah,
sure.
And this October, you are all commemorating 40 years of service to Chicago. Yes. What's going on with that?
So we're going to be having an event that we're going to start putting more information out. We're going to be at the Epiphany Center.
I love that place. I love that place.
And so we're trying to do a little combination here. We'll have a little kind of VIP reception to kick it off, and then some of us older gays who don't want to stay out too late could go and be at the beginning of a little dance party celebration. Matthew Harvat, Circuit Mom, is coming back in to put on a fun show for us. They have a beautiful, the church space is now a performance space. So I'll be hosting a big smash out party in their space for our anniversary later in the fall. So
well, as we get closer to October, we're going to have you back on the show to remind folks about what an incredible organization and the good work that you are all doing out there, and also get folks to come out and go check out and go to the Epiphany Center, if anything. I love that place. It's so great.
It's an amazing space. It is. Yeah. Thank you. I'd love to come back.
Well, the door is always open for you.
Absolutely.
And if you want to find out more information about the work that Chicago House does, go to chicagohouse.org. Michael Harmon, again, thank you so much for taking time out today to join us. And thank you again for all of the hard work that you and your entire team does on a daily basis. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.
We are going to be taking a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
This is William Lindsay Cochran from the group Great Moments in Vinyl. You're listening to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, just rolling along.
All these great people we have on the show that do so much.
I know.
Really
I'm like,
fantastic.
I have to get off my butt and do things.
Well, you do things. We do this.
I know, but I feel like
2 hours a week.
Oh, I know, but I'm like, it's so inspiring.
It is. It is inspiring.
It's so very inspiring what's going on. Hey, I just want to remind everybody that if you are in East Lakeview and you happen to get a little sweet tooth, you should head on over to Windy City Sweets, right there at like Broadway and is it Roscoe? A little bit south of there.
It is south of there.
Yeah, a little bit south of there. Yeah. I don't know the address off the top of my head, but our good buddies over there, they are helping out Special Gifts Theater. So if you go and you get a scoop of ice cream that has my picture on it, no one else's. Actually, there are a bunch of other pictures there. There are four of us. There are four of us out there. There we are.
Yeah.
Head on over to and then get a scoop, and they'll donate proceeds of the sales go to helping out folks, which is great.
Yes.
By the way, I do have to say that lemon cheesecake is kicking everybody's butt.
Yeah.
There we are. Just want to say,
yes.
You want something zesty and a little decadent and very refreshing, lemon cheesecake is the way to go at Windy City Sweets. There we are. Just have to say that.
Yeah, well, and there's birthday cake, because every day is a celebration when you have birthday cake.
Well, and you always celebrate. You celebrate everything,
I do.
Which is wonderful.
I got to.
That is, I know. It's fantastic. Like I say it frequently. It's one of my favorite things about you. There you go.
I just want to go back to lazy, crazy, hazy days of summer, because there's no way you would know this, because the song came out before you were born.
Okay, well,
yeah, it was the Nat King Cole song. It was very popular.
I love Nat King Cole.
And I think if you heard,
I'm sure if I heard it, it will probably be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, but it was back in '63.
Yeah, but there was also listen. I listened to a lot of oldies stuff. I don't want to plug another radio station, but I do. But I listen to that one. But and there's this one. I keep hearing this thing. Maybe it might be a little lazy, hazy days of summer. I don't know. There's always this one song that kind of pops up, and I'm like, this is kind of a goofy song. Like, it's a little goofy, but I can't remember what it is. But it's very much talking about like it's summer and then we're lazy and it's fun and we're outside. Like and I'm like, all right, come on,
summer in a nutshell.
Do it. And we've been talking a lot about the '80s today between Always Something There, Angels in America,
all '80s stuff.
That all in the '80s, and of course, unfortunately, the AIDS crisis informed a lot about the '80s that's going on there. Do you ever get nostalgic? Are there any moments of nostalgia for the 80s? Because our experiences are going to be a little bit different, because you were definitely like you're doing your thing.
Yeah, 80s were, I started my radio career in 1982 in sales at XRT. That was life-changing. I came out in 1989, and so 80s.
We came out the same year.
Oh, my God.
I never knew. Yeah, we did. We came out in the same year.
Yeah, we did. There you go. Even though you were 15 years younger than me or whatever it is.
Yeah, I was 18.
They were transformative years for me. And nostalgic. Yeah, the songs that I listened to were more XRT based.
Yeah, you're doing the rock stuff.
Yeah, I did the rock stuff. And those songs, there's a show called Flashback that's on XRT on Saturdays. And whenever they hit those 80s years, especially the years I started at XRT, 82, 83, 84, it's just every song has a memory for me.
Yeah.
Every song has a memory.
But who? Because I know, for me, I automatically, in the 80s, for me, that's hands down, like Madonna, Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, like all of those. Who are your Rocky people? Like, is it Bon?
Prince
we're not doing Bon Jovi.
Prince is big for me.
Prince is. Yeah. There's not a day that goes by that I'm sad that little purple man is not here with us every day, because what we could have gotten from him.
He was amazing.
He was incredible.
Bands like U2 came on the front.
Yeah. I loved U2.
REM was a new band.
Was a big REM. See, we have the same sort of thing.
Yeah. There's so many.
So many that are going there. Yeah.
So many. And being where I was in the progressive, rock world, we saw these bands like for $4 at the Park West. They call them budget shows. I saw U2 in 1981 at Park West for $5.
What?
Before they hit it big.
I've only seen U2 once, but I saw them on the Joshua Tree tour. Like the original Joshua Tree tour, and it was the day, so that must have been like 87. I think it was 87. And it was the day after my sister got married. It was a great weekend.
Yeah.
But like that.
Never forget it.
I'm like, Joshua Tree is to me one of the quintessential albums.
Great one.
It's the perfect album.
Springsteen, even though he started in the 70s, the 80s were really just
big thing. Born in the USA. That album was like huge.
Yeah, just everywhere you look, it was just one of those quintessential decades of music.
Yeah, yeah, and the 80s gets pooped on a lot for not contributing. Which I think is like really interesting. I mean, I'm sure they're probably going to say the same thing about what's going on right now.
Yeah.
But I think, there's, I don't know. I think because as you said, we are in the tenderloin of summer, and the fact that it just felt like July the other night that I was walking the past. I mean, just that July feeling. I've been very, very kind of nostalgic about it. And the music of the 80s, to me, I just love it. I love it. It's some of it's just silly and goofy.
I mean, Billie Jean came out in the 80s. This,
Thriller.
A Thriller. That record was just, and we even played it at XRT.
As you should, because it's a really good record. Like, that's the thing that always, when it comes, we all know that Michael Jackson is complicated.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We all know that it is complicated.
Yes, it is.
And right now we are talking about the artist, not the person. I mean, the art, not the artist. Mm-hmm. Talking about the art, the products. It's hard for people who weren't around in the 80s to understand how big Michael Jackson's Thriller was.
Just
I mean, it was everywhere.
And video bars and videos were big.
Videos were just starting.
And his videos that went along with it just took it to another level.
A whole new level. And this was all before internet.
Yeah.
Like people like just losing their minds.
Losing their minds.
I remember being like when they finally released the video for Thriller, which is like, I think it's like a 9-minute opus of going on there. Some famous director directed it. He's the guy that directed one of the segments.
John Landis.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you for that.
I'm about the same age as Thriller, and like my earliest memories are in that album.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean they're incredible. But like I remember watching the video and it came on. Like it made it. We didn't have cable yet. Because, single mom, we were struggling. And we had, but there was a show called Friday Night Videos that came on NBC.
Oh, yeah.
And it was making its network debut. But of course, it was the very last thing that they were going to play because they wanted you to watch the whole show.
Yeah.
And I remember like staying up and just waiting for it, to see the Thriller video with the Thriller dance and all the special effects and the werewolves and all of that.
It was like nothing else we'd ever seen in a music video.
No, because it also went on for like 9 minutes. It was a long thing. I mean, I don't think it's quite 9 minutes, but it was long. And then the making of Thriller, like that whole thing, just amazing. But that night that I watched, he got John Landis because he directed An American Werewolf in London. And now we've got this little Thriller thing going on. But that night, I grew up with a black lab who would jump on my bed in the middle of the night. That night,
I thought it was a werewolf?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was not cute. I was like freaked out. Like,
were you about?
Too old to be.
Okay,
I was like probably like 11 or something.
That's
Maybe
young.
like 10 or 11.
That's little.
I know, but it's one of those things.
Come on.
I don't know.
Like a Virgin came out. I mean, oh my God. The Madonna thing
a little
was
lady
huge.
named Madonna.
People were dressing like her. It was
her performance at I guess it was the VMAs when they actually had Video Music Awards, and they actually made music videos, and MTV played it. And her scandalous, iconic performance of writhing around on the floor.
And her lacy outfit.
But for particularly for Like a Virgin, that's like catapulted her. And I've been a Madonna stan from the get-go, from the jump.
I've been a fan, too.
Yeah. But, there's also, with this whole idea of, like, summertime, Jerry and I, like, as much as, like, growing up, I'm like, the Missouri is not the South. I mean, I guess there are parts of Missouri that is the South. Look, we had the gateway to the West is where, I was. So we always consider ourselves Midwest. But I guess I'm a little bit more Southern than I think. And, Jerry's from Mississippi, definitely Southern. But so there was something about, like, we had similar tactile experiences as kids of being like running feral outside.
Right.
You get out of the house and you don't come back until the lights come on. But like the humidity, and like the mosquitoes and all that sort of vibe. And then the joy of going inside to someone's house who had like the air conditioning and even better HBO. There were just some movie because we were big HBO kids, my generation, because that was like when it really was like kind of everywhere. And the other night I made Jerry watch Grease 2.
How was it?
Oh my God, it's so good.
It is?
It is so good. I don't want to hear from anybody. It is where the world first met Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh, is that her first big movie?
Yes, Stephanie Zanoni. Mm-hmm. Look, I think it is a much better movie, much better message than the original. Because the original one, look, when I was a high school teacher, the parents kept saying, you should do Grease. You should do Grease. And I'm like, okay, great. So are you comfortable with your daughter talking about missing a period and singing a song called There Are Worse Things I Could Do? Are you cool with the message of Grease being like, if you're not popular, become a slut? You know, like that's Grease. Like the way the women are treated in this. I
never loved Grease.
Well, I got on board with Grease as well.
Yeah, I never.
Of course I did. Because, Olivia Newton-John, she was just so pretty. Just so pretty. She's great. But Grease 2, it's flipped the script. So, you've got the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies.
I don't even know Grease 2. I didn't even see Grease 2.
You didn't see the first Grease?
I saw the first Grease.
Yeah, so you got the T-Birds and the Pink Ladies, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, the two little gangs or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, now they flipped the script. So the cool bad person is Stephanie Zanoni. It's the lady. Oh. And then the object of the purity is a dude, Maxwell Caulfield. Oh.
Played by who?
Maxwell Caulfield.
Oh,
that's the actor. Yes, come on. His name is Michael Carrington. Yes, he was on Dynasty. You're not a gay man.
I'm not.
You wouldn't know.
I never will be.
Oh boy, oh
Sorry.
boy, oh boy. He was very confusing
to me. Talk to my brother about that.
He was just so pretty. But there was now you've got the girls being tough and they have agency over what's going on.
I didn't know that.
And the girls are saying no to sexual advances. It's great. And the songs are dumb and they're so wonderful. And again, the world we got Michelle Pfeiffer from that singing.
And where has she been lately? I haven't seen her.
She pops up every once in a while. Yeah.
I always liked her.
She's living her best life. I'm sure she is.
Yeah, you don't have to be on screen all the time.
No.
She's getting royalties from Grease 2 still. So.
Well, she got some from me the other night.
Yes, she did.
Yes, but that was one of those movies that was always on. When it was hot out like it is today. When it's too hot to be outside, you go to a friend's house and you ordered. Back when Domino's first came out, you ordered Domino's. Because you actually had you had to pull your money from all your friends and everything to do that, and you'd watch these movies. Poltergeist was another huge one that was always on HBO in the 80s. Yeah, there's so many. Anyway,
that's.
Thank you for going down memory lane.
Yes, it's
with
important.
Me because it was. I don't know. There's just something about. I think it's particularly about July that makes me want to experience some summer memories.
I love summer memories. We're living them and we're making them.
We are. And we just made another show. And I guess that wraps everything up. I want to thank all of our guests today. Caleb Mathura, Charles Askenaizer, and Michael Herman. Paul, thank you so much for hanging out in here with us. And Henry running the show back there. I don't know if he's there or not. All right. Well, no, I think he disappeared, but there we go. But that does it for us for this week's Out Chicago. Ellen Miller, happy anniversary once again.
It was an anniversary weekend. Thank you, Scott.
I know. Go and enjoy more of the Square Roots.
I'm going to hit over there as soon as I get home and put my shorts on.
There you go. And I actually took the day off, so I think Jerry and I were going to go to a movie. So there we are.
Good for you. There we are. See?
I think Superman.
I would. I go see it.
Well, there we are.
I hear it's upsetting the right, so you better go.
Oh, all right. Well, there we are. Well, we're going to do that.
Okay, good.
So, yeah. And until next week, I'm Scott Duff.
Stay proud.